A very warm welcome everyone. Today in this class we are continuing the chapter, that is Unit 2, Classification of Living Beings, under the subject Science and Technology for class 10. Now, before starting this class, I want to ask you guys a few questions. I'll show you guys some organisms and you have to guess what that organism is and which phylum does it lie in. So the first organism I have for you guys is this. So what is this and which phylum does this animal belong to? Yes, it's blood fluke and it belongs to the animal Platyhelminthes. Platy means flat, helminthus means worm. So all the flatworms lie in this phylum. So blood fluke is dorsoventrally flattened, hence it also belongs to the phylum Platyhelminthes. Now another organism. So which organism is this? Yes, it's a hookworm and it lies in the phylum. Yes, Nemathelminthus. Now, Nemathelminthus are those organisms that has cylindrical body and with tapering ends, as you can see here in the figure, and it does not have any segments in their body. So that's why this hookworm has similar features. So it is also placed in the phylum Nemathelminthus. Now, which phylum does this organism belong to? Yes, it's a jellyfish and it belongs to the phylum Coelenterata because it has internal cavity, central cavity inside its body. That's why this jellyfish belongs to the phylum Coelenterata. Now, what is this organism and which phylum does this belong to? Yes, these are the sponges. Sponges means phylum Porifera because sponges have one large opening, one or two large opening called as the osculum, and their body is covered by minute pores. What is the name of those pores? Yes, it's the ostia. So since this organism also have osculum as well as ostia in their body, they are also classified under the phylum Porifera. Now we have this organism that we haven't studied yet, and this is earthworm and it belongs to the phylum Annelida. Now let us study about this phylum and understand why this earthworm belongs to this phylum. So the name Annelida comes from the word annulus, which means ring. As you can see here in the video as well as in the figure, the organism looks like its body has multiple rings stacked together to form this organism. So that's why this organism, that is earthworm, belongs to this phylum Annelida because these organisms, the organism present in Annelida, have annular structure, that is ring-like structures all over their body. They have this segmented body. So that is the main characteristic of the phylum Annelida. Now the word or the term Annelida was coined by Lamarck, and this phylum includes about 15,000 species. Now let us study about certain characteristics of this phylum. First we have, it is segmented worm, that is metamerism, or it is metamerically segmented, which means it has internal as well as external as well as internal segmentation. All its body is divided internally as well into compartments. I'll show you guys how that happens. Now, suppose this is the organism, earthworm. Now if we like this, it has all the structure. If we look at this tree structure, if we cut it like this and open it and look inside, you'll see this kind of structure, that is every ring-like structure. This segment also has internal segmentation. So there is presence of external segment as well as internal segment, and this septa, it divides the cavity inside the body into compartments. So this is known as metamerically segmented. They are either marine, that is, they live in salty water, or they live in fresh water, or they are also found in damp places as well. We all have seen earthworm in our surrounding, and we can see that it is usually found in moist soil. And have you seen an earthworm? What happens to it when it falls under the sun for a longer period of time? Do you know what happens to the earthworm? It dies. So why does it die? We'll talk about it in further characteristics. So the third characteristics that we'll talk about is bilateral symmetry. Now, these earthworm, it can be divided into two mirror image when we segment it, when we cut it like this, then we have this two segmentation. I'll show you guys. Suppose this is the earthworm. And we can divide it this way so that we can get two mirror images. So this type of symmetry is called as bilateral symmetry. So we can say that the organism that belongs to this phylum, that is Annelida, has bilateral symmetry. Now they are triploblastic. So how do we classify an organism as triploblastic? Yes, because if their body has all three germ layers, the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm, then such organism is called as triploblastic organism. And Annelida are triploblastic organism. Now their body has true coelom, and it is divided into many compartments by horizontal muscular septa and filled with coelomic fluid acting as a hydraulic skeleton. Now, the true coelom that its body contains, the cavity, it is divided into compartments by muscular septa, and all those septas are filled with coelomic fluid. I just showed you when I was showing you guys the metamerically segmented body. So each of those compartment is filled with coelomic fluid, and it acts as hydraulic skeleton. Now, hydraulic skeleton, this is very important for the movement of the earthworm. Now, I'll show you guys what happens is. This is an earthworm. Now, we all know that liquid is an incompressible fluid. So it does not change its volume. So when you press liquid from one side, then it distributes the force to the other sides. So what happens if this segment, they come together, they compress in this way, then what happens? Pressure builds up in their body, and it helps the organism to propel forward. So what happens is now it will move forward. Now this compressed part exerts force in thisward direction. So this helps the earthworm to propel forward. Now when this propel forward, this part it stretches out. So this it again pull all the remaining body to this side. So in this way, this hydraulic skeleton helps the organism to move. I'll show you guys in this video as well. You can see clearly this earthworm, it moves. It pulls itself, and the whole entire body, it again move forward. It compresses, and again that helps this body to propel forward. And this is known as hydraulic skeleton. This is due to the property of the fluid. That fluid is incompressible. So it distributes force. It helps in locomotion for these organisms. So hydraulic skeleton is also an important characteristic. Another characteristic is they have organ system level of body organization. So their body has organ system. Different organs, they work together to perform a certain function. So they have organ system level of body organization. They have moist skin that is made up of moist cuticle. As I mentioned previously, they live in damp places, or they have aquatic lifestyle. If they do not have aquatic lifestyle, then they live in damp places, and due to that their skin is moist. It is made up of moist cuticle. Now, they respire through general body surface. That is why when an earthworm, it respires through their general body surface, and for that reason their skin should be moist so that the oxygen can dissolve in that moist place. Now, if the earthworm is placed in the sun for a longer period of time, it dies. Why? Due to suffocation. It cannot breathe if their skin becomes dry. So the heat from the sun, it dries up their skin, and when it dries up their skin, it cannot breathe, and so due to suffocation it will die. So moist skin is very important for these organisms' survival. So that is the reason why the earthworm, it does not usually come out in the sun, because it will die due to suffocation. Now, locomotion also occurs by seta. Now, seta, these are I've just took 3 segments from the entire segments of the organism. Now, they have this fleshy muscular outgrowth called as the parapodia. And this parapodia has this structure outgrowth, which is also known as seta. And this seta, it helps in locomotion for this organ. So hydraulic skeleton as well as seta helps in locomotion for these organs. Now, hydraulic skeleton helps in locomotion in organisms such as earthworm, and in certain organisms, if they do not have such tendency, then they locomote by seta as well. Another characteristic is they have complete digestive tract. So complete digestive tract means the digestive tract has both mouth and anus and different structures, intestines and all in the between. So the organism that belongs to the phylum Annelida, they have complete digestive tract that extends up to the length of the body. So from head to the end, the tail region, the digestive tract extends throughout their body. Now, their digestive tract is complete as well, which means they have both mouth and anus and intestine and other structures such as pharynx in between. Now, they also have well-developed circulatory system with hemoglobin. Now, the circulatory system, inside the circulatory system, they also possess hemoglobin within it, which helps in transportation of oxygen. Now, the excretory organ of the organism that belong to the phylum Annelida is known as nephridia, and this nephridia helps in excretion, and the organism has an excretory pore to which the nephridia is connected to, and through that pore they excrete out all the waste from their body. Now, their nervous system, it consists of nerve rings, nerve cord and nerves. Now, some of the organisms, they are found in moist land, and some of them are also ectoparasite. Now, ecto means external, that is outside the body, and parasite means the organism that has parasitic tendency. It suck in nourishment from the host body. Now, so the parasite that take nutrition from the host body from external environment, not by getting inside the host body, not internally but externally. If they suck in nourishment from the host body, then those organisms are known as ectoparasite, like leech. So some of them, they live in moist land such as earthworm, and some of them are ectoparasites such as leech. Now, talking about the reproductive system, some of them may be unisexual, that is, male and female reproductive organs are present in different organisms, but some of them might be hermaphrodite, which means both the male and female reproductive organs lie in the same body. The fertilization is external. So what is external fertilization? I've said this multiple times in previous class. So what is external fertilization? Yes, if the fertilization occurs outside the female body, that is, the sperm fuses with the egg outside the female body, then the fertilization is known as external. Now, in case of earthworm, if I give an example of earthworm, what happens is after conjugation, the sperm and the egg, they fuses together in a cocoon that is present outside the female body. And what cross fertilization means is, even though the organism is a hermaphrodite, as you can take an example of earthworm. Earthworm is a hermaphrodite organism. So it has both male and female reproductive organ in the same body. Even though they have both the reproductive organs in the same body, they do not fertilize each other. The sperm of the same body will not fertilize the ovum of the same body. So cross fertilization means sperm of one organism fertilizes the egg of another organism, or the egg of other organism is fertilized by the sperm of another organism, then that is called as cross fertilization. So self fertilization means if the sperm of the same body fertilizes the egg of the same body, then it is known as self fertilization. And cross fertilization means sperm of a different organism fertilizes the egg of the different organism, then it is known as cross fertilization. So in case of Annelida, the fertilization is external and it is usually cross fertilization in the case of hermaphrodites. Now let us see some examples. We have talked about leech, which is also an ectoparasite, and you can see it has segments all over its body. The earthworm also have segments. The snails also have segments, and you cannot see here, it's very mild, but this bloodworm also have segmented body, and it is cylindrical and tapering at both ends as well. So all of these organisms, due to that reason, it lies under the phylum. Which phylum? Annelida. Now let us talk about another phylum, that is Arthropoda. Now looking at all these organisms, can you guess one characteristics of them? Okay, what you can see that they have these legs and it has joints in their leg. So that is the main characteristic of the phylum Arthropoda that gave the name Arthropoda to these organisms. So Arthropoda word comes from two words. Arthos means joint and podos means foot. So if the foot, they have jointed foot, that is the foot has joints, then those type of organisms belong to Arthropoda. Now the term Arthropoda was coined by Siebold, and this is the largest phylum in the animal kingdom, and it constitutes about 80% of the entire species. So let me ask you one question from the plant kingdom. Which was the largest division of the plant kingdom? Yes, it was the angiosperms, and the angiosperms also constitute about 80% of the entire plant. So similarly, Arthropoda is also the largest phylum, and it also constitutes about 80% of the entire species of animals. Now let us study about certain characteristics of arthropods. Now their body is covered by hard exoskeleton, which is made up by chitin, as you can see here. In case of crab, all of these external structure is very hard, and this hard exoskeleton, exo means outside, so skeleton that is present outside is known as exoskeleton. Now in case of human beings, we have skeleton inside our body, so we have endoskeleton. Endo means inside. So endoskeleton. So the skeleton in our body is present inside. But in the case of arthropods, they have exoskeleton. That is, the skeleton is present outside their body. And that skeleton, it is made up of chitin. Now they have bilateral symmetry. Now we can divide this crab into two mirror image when we divide it from this plane, and we get two mirror images in the right and left side. So this organism has bilateral symmetry. So arthropods have bilateral symmetry. Now they are triploblastic, which means they have all three germ layers present in the body: the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. Their body is segmented, but it only has external segment. The annelids, which we just studied, they had internal segmentation as well. But the arthropods, they have segments, but it only have external segmentation. It does not have any internal segmentation. Now the body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen, and in some cases the thorax and abdomen, it fuses together to form cephalothorax. Now in the case of this ant, its body is distinctly divided into head, this part is thorax, and this part is abdomen. This is also one of the most important characteristics of arthropod. The body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen, and they have jointed appendages. So these two are the most important characteristic of this phylum. Now their head has a pair of compound eye and a paired antenna and mouth part. The arthropods, their head have a pair of compound eye, and the most common example is housefly. Now the housefly has compound eye, so it has a very sharp vision, and when we try to kill a housefly, it's almost near to impossible due to this reason. They have compound eye, so their vision is very elaborated, so it is very difficult to kill a housefly when we try to kill it. So that is one of the reason as well. It just flies away so fast. Another is they have paired antenna. As you can see here, in the case of ant, they have this antenna. And they also have mouth part. This is also a mouth part of these organisms, that is, and similarly all the other organisms also have paired antenna and mouth parts. They have jointed legs that arises from thorax. As you can see here, they have this long jointed legs, and you can see all of these legs come out from thorax. It does not come out from abdomen or the head. All these three legs, that is, three pairs of legs, they arises from the thorax, and it has jointed legs. You can see there's this one joint, another joint present. So jointed legs arising from thorax is another characteristics of arthropod. They generally have two pairs of wings or single pair of wings, or sometimes the wings may be absent as well. Now you can see here the butterfly and dragonfly has two pairs of wings, and you can see in the case of spider, it does not have any wings. So the organism that belongs to the arthropod, they usually have two pairs of wings, or they also sometimes have single pair of wings, and the wings might also be absent in some organisms. Now they have complete digestive tract. So what do you mean by complete digestive tract? Yes, the digestive system comprises of both mouth and anus. So that type of digestive system or digestive tract is known as complete digestive tract. Now they have specialized respiratory system. So the gaseous exchange can occur through gills in the case of aquatic organisms. So if the organism is aquatic, they usually respire through gills. And other organisms such as insects, all the insects that belongs under this phylum, they breathe through trachea. And some of the organisms also have book lung. So book lung means they have lungs, but it is in the shape of a book. So that's why it is known as book lung. I'll show you guys. Now this looks like These are the two covers and these are all the internal pages of the book. So due to this structure of the lungs are also known as book lung, because the lungs look like a book. That is the only reason why they gave this name to this lung, due to its appearance. And in certain organisms, they also respire through diffusion. Hemocoel. Now their body consists of hemocoel. So do you guys know what a hemocoel means, or can you guys even guess what a hemocoel means? Let me give you a hint. You can divide this word into hemo and seal, which means coelom. So I guess you can tell me now what the word hemocoel means. Yes, it is a coelom which contains blood in it. So coelom is a body cavity. So a body cavity that contains blood and it function as a part of the circulatory system, then it is known as hemocoel. So it is a type of coelom that has blood in it, or a cavity that has blood in it, and that blood it functions as a part of a circulatory system, then it is called as hemocoel. Now let us look at some example of the organism that belongs to the arthropoda. Bee, centipede, millipede, the mosquitoes, spiders, crab, housefly, dragonfly. The arthropod is such a large phylum, you have so many examples around you. So I want you guys to look at all the examples of the phylum arthropod around you as well, because this is the largest phylum and you will see so many examples all around you as well. So make sure you check that out. So another phylum that we'll cover for today is the phylum Mollusca. Now the word mollusca comes from the word molluscus, which means soft. And you must have seen the body of snail and slug. It has a very soft body. You can see over here as well. It has the soft body. So all the organism that belongs to this phylum has a very soft body. Now the phylum Mollusca is the second largest phylum of the animal kingdom. Now the arthropoda was the largest phylum of the animal kingdom, whereas the Mollusca is the second largest phylum of the animal kingdom. Now let us study about certain characteristics of the organism that belongs to the phylum Mollusca. So the first characteristic is they are mostly marine. Some of them are freshwater and a few are terrestrial. The marine means they live in which kind of water? Yes, salty water. And fresh water means the water that has less amount of salt in it. And few of them are terrestrial, such as snails and slug that you can see around you. Those are the terrestrial organism that belongs to the phylum Mollusca. Now they are triploblastic. Now all the organism that we studied, all the phylum that we studied today are triploblastic. The arthropoda, mollusca. We also studied about which phylum? Annelida. It is also triploblastic. Now let me ask you guys a question. Now you have seen all those snails and slugs around you. Now have you noticed that if their body is segmented or not? Now when you played with the snail, I know you all guys have played with a snail, garden snail. So when you looked closely, had you ever noticed if their body had any segments or not? No, the body did not have any segments. That's why the another characteristic of the phylum Mollusca is the body is unsegmented. Now, if you had not noticed this, I want you guys to go out in the garden and find out the snail and look at its body. You can see that the body is not segmented. But if you again search for an earthworm, you can see that the body is clearly segmented. So make sure you guys do that as well. So the another characteristic would be they have soft body with bilateral symmetry, and only a few of those organisms are asymmetrical. Now when we try to divide this octopus into equal parts, when we divide it in this one plane, then only we can divide this organism into two mirror images. So we can say that since the organism can only be divided into two mirror images through one single plane, so it is called as bilateral symmetry. Now, their body is partially or fully enclosed by shell. Now you can see here the body is partially enclosed by shell, and this organism, they can voluntarily go inside their shell so that it can protect its body if they have any external threat, or their body can be entirely enclosed by shell as well. For example, here you can see in the case of clams, the body is enclosed fully by the shell. Now, if the shell is present, they are secreted by the mantle, and the body is divided into head, foot, visceral hump, and mantle. Now, this word mantle has come multiple times, so I'll show you guys the basic body division of this organism. Now, this is a shell. Now, if we cut open the shell and look inside, you'll see this structure. Now, this is the head. This is the tail region. Now, you'll see this kind of structure inside. This is mantle, and this is known as the visceral foot. This inner part is known as the visceral mass, and this is the shell, protective shell. Now, the organism that belongs to this phylum, the mollusca, their body can be divided into four parts we just studied. That is the head, the mantle, the visceral foot, and the visceral mass or visceral hump. Now, the shell, it is present in some organism, but in some organism, the shell is not present, such as in slugs. So, we can, due to that reason, this is not always considered as the body part. So, collectively, this organism can be divided into four parts: head, visceral foot, mantle, and visceral mass or visceral hump. Now, let us look at other characteristics as well. They have complete digestive tract. So, complete digestive tract means, I've already said this 2 times now. So, what is a complete digestive tract? Yes, if the digestive tract has both mouth and anus, they are called as complete digestive tract. Now, they have muscular feet that helps in swimming or gliding. You can see here the muscular feet of this octopus helps it to swim, and you can see that this muscular foot of the snail, it is helping this snail to glide through the surface. Now, they have hemocoel. So, what is a hemocoel? We just studied about it in the case of arthropoda. So, what is a hemocoel? Yes, it is the body cavity that contains blood in it, which also functions as a part of a circulatory system. So, if the body has that kind of cavity inside it, then those organisms are also known as hemocoelomates. Now, they have hemocoel in their body, so they are hemocoelomate. Now, their circulatory system is open. Now, there are 2 types of circulatory system: the closed type of circulatory system and the open type of circulatory system. Now, the closed type of circulatory system means the blood, it is pumped by the heart, and it transfers all over the body through a vessel, and it comes back to the heart. Then those type of circulatory system is called as closed circulatory system, because it has this closed flow of the blood throughout their body. But if that is not the case, if the blood, it travels from one part and it does not returns back to that part, then it is known as the open type. So the circulatory system in the case of mollusca is open type, but in case of us human beings, we have heard it pumps the blood and all the blood vessels, it takes blood away from the heart and it again collects blood from all over the body back to the heart. So we have closed circulatory system, whereas the organism that belongs to this phylum has open circulatory system. Now the respiration, it occurs through gills or ctenidia that is present in the mental cavity in case of aquatic organisms, and if they are terrestrial organism, then respiration occurs through pulmonary sac. Now most of the organisms that belongs to this phylum are unisexual, that is male and female organs are present in different organism, but there are some just a few of the organisms which are hermaphrodite, which means the body has both male and female reproductive organs in it. Now let us look at a few examples. We have snail, slug, mussels, octopus, clam, squid. These all are some of the examples of this phylum, and there are other many examples as well, because this is also the second largest phylum that belongs to the animal kingdom. Now I've taught you guys 3 different phylums today. We studied about the Annelida, Arthropoda and mollusca. So I have some question for you guys to check that if you have understood what I taught you guys or not. Now the first question that I have for you guys is, which of the following the organism which are list belongs to the phylum Annelida? So we have centipede, nunio, leech and lobster. So which among these 4 organisms belongs to the phylum Annelida? Yes, leech belongs to the phylum Annelida, because we can see it has very clear segments in their body as well, and it is an ectoparasite, and we also studied about it while we were studying about Annelida. Now centipede, which phylum does centipede belong to? Yes, it belongs to Arthropoda. Nunio belongs to mollusca. And lobster, it belongs to which phylum? Yes, Arthropoda. Now I have another question for you guys, that is, I'll give you 4 arguments and you have to see which among these 4 arguments is correct and which is incorrect. Now the first argument is, body of mollusca is radially symmetrical. Is this correct? No, it's incorrect, because the body of mollusca is either bilaterally symmetrical or asymmetrical. So the first argument is incorrect. Now the second argument, body of arthropoda has exoskeleton. Is this correct? Yes, it's correct, because we studied that the arthropods, they have hard exoskeleton that is made up of chitin. So the second argument is correct. Now the third argument, Annelida has long cylindrical and unsegmented body. Is this correct? No, it's incorrect, because the organism that has long cylindrical and unsegmented body lies in which phylum? Yes, Nemathelminthus. But in case of Annelida, even though they have long cylindrical body, they have segmented body to distinguish them from the Nemathelminthus, the nematodes. So Annelida are those organisms that has long cylindrical and segmented body, that is metamerically segmented. Now the fourth argument is, in mollusca, the respiration takes place by gills, but lungs is developed in terrestrial form. Is this correct? The mollusca, in case of mollusca, the aquatic organism, they have gills through which they breathe, that is, they exchange gases. But if it is a terrestrial form such as snake and slug, lung is developed, lung sac-like lung that we just studied. So The fourth argument is correct because in the case of respiration, for the organism belongs to mollusca, it usually takes place by gills in the aquatic form, and in terrestrial form, lungs are developed. Now in this class we studied about three different phylum: the annelids, the arthropods, and the molluscas. Now in next class we'll study about the remaining phylum as well. So I'll see you guys in next class.